Hello, everyone. Good morning. It is 12:07 p.m. in Arizona. Welcome to noon, and welcome to the Paradox Esports Dominion Championship Series. This is week number 1. There's going to be 3 weeks of competition here. Players are going to compete for points. Those points are going to be compared up at the end of the month after the 3-week period passes, and the teams that rank in the top 8 throughout those 3 weeks are going to go to an 8-team invitational at the end of the month. All tournaments are going to be for RP, including up to and including the one at the very end. Which means, guys, if you show up to compete and you get some points, you make it into that 8-man invitational, all you need to do is win one game to win RP. RP pays out for places 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, from what I understand. And we're going to go ahead right into the first game of the morning, evening, afternoon. Let's call it afternoon here. I need to capture the champ select bit. Ta-da! So I couldn't get that set up beforehand. Alright. So, in this game, this first match, there are not going to be any extra bans. For those of you long-time viewers of Dominion competition through various other channels and tournaments, here in the Paradox Esports Championship Series, there are only going to be 6 bans, the 6 that are done in the Champion Select screen. So a lot of you guys that are used to the 10-ban format, they're not going to find that here. We're just going to find some straight-up, going to Champ Select, ban some champions, play it out. So we are going to see some of those more common power picks, most likely. We're probably going to see some Jace, Taric, probably going to see some Lulu, other characters like that that normally don't get through the ban phase. I anticipate a bunch of Wukong being picked up as well. I have the blockers on. What? Sakukori, please, sir. And looking at the bans we're going through right away, Brand, Zyra, Jace, Kha'Zix, Kassadin, and wondering what the last one is going to be. It looks like the last ban is going to be Nidalee. So now let's see who gets picked up. Taric, first pick. Excellent. I'm really glad to be able to talk about that. Taric is a character who was used a little bit here and there by a player called MMKH, and he did a pretty good job with Taric, used him here and there, but now Taric, most recently, with this patch that has come out, his healing is very, very powerful. He has a ratio on his armor now, on his armor passive, and overall is just a very more powerful champion than he was with the recent changes to him, and as a result, he's been being picked a lot in Dominion now, as opposed to previously where he wasn't used very often outside of a couple players. Now he's almost a must-pick, must-ban, I'd say. I've been playing him a lot myself, and Taric's early game doesn't seem like anything special, but late game, he is a completely immovable object, absolutely effective against any AD champions that there are, and any AP champions. I mean, all he really has to do then is throw on something like an Odin's Veil and an Aegis. As long as he's keeping his health up and not investing in pure MR, he'll still have plenty of damage, or plenty of healing, rather, to throw around. He's just really, really tanky, brings a stun to the table, great character to have. Over on the other side, we are seeing Leona and Jarvan IV. Leona's a character that initially was not very popular in North America. She was used a lot in Europe West Dominion, and eventually we sort of caught on over here, at least competitively. I mean, every champion's played in blind pick and draft, but we're worried about the competitive stats here, guys. And recently, she had an armor and MR ratio added onto her Eclipse, which makes her a much more powerful dive than she was before, and that change is really, really useful for her. And looking at Jarvan as well. Jarvan is a character that we've seen represented since 2011 Dominion. He has a line effect airborne, he can spawn terrain. He's a great character on this map. He's never been particularly ban-worthy. I mean, occasionally you see him banned against, specific players, or just if you want to not have to deal with them. Not really a priority ban, but he's usually a pretty high priority pick. You see him in a lot of games. Useful character, brings a slow to the table as well, but it's mostly just for his area control and crowd control. On the other side, we are seeing Lulu and Wukong being picked up. Lulu is a character that has an okay win rate in Dominion. She's one of the better support champions that there are. And we see her being useful because she has multiple things that affect speed. She can speed up allies, slow down enemies. She can increase allies' health. She can give them shields. So there's multiple ways to affect health. Multiple methods of crowd control too. She has an airborne, and she can turn someone into a small cat and or muffin. Not and or, because she can't do both at the same time. Cat or muffin. So Lulu brings a lot of support and utility ability to the table. Plus her poke is quite good. She can sort of face off on a tower against someone for quite a while and be okay because of the range on Glitter Lance. And Wukong has some of the best initiation you can ask for. Pops out of stealth, Nimbus strikes in, airbornes everyone on the team with Cyclone, and he has an armor reduction on top of that, which means he synchronizes well with just about everything in the game that feels like it wants to auto attack at any point. We're seeing Sona and not Lulu. We talked about Lulu already. We're seeing Sona and Annie. Sona is another good support character. Brings some healing and sustain to her team. Brings some movement speed to her team. Damage to her team. But more importantly, she brings a slow and an amazing stun to the table. And Annie, a great burst character, works well with Jarvan. If you put Annie and Jarvan together, you get the toaster oven combination, where Jarvan creates the oven with Cataclysm, and Annie fills it with fire, toasting the enemy team. Annie brings an AoE stun, and Tibbers, as a remote-controlled minion, is very, very good for delaying on points. She can hang out behind the windmill or behind refinery drill, wherever, and just control Tibbers around on the point, keep people from capping from a very, very safe distance. A low hit point Annie can still be a huge nuisance, as long as she has her stun available and can control Tibbers well. Tibbers also gives vision, very useful for scouting bushes and things like that, in addition to his damage. Seeing Zounds Cassiopeia, now maybe not Zounds Cassiopeia, but Zounds has picked that for his team. Cassiopeia has a very high sustained damage, one of the highest sustained magic damage champions in the game, I believe. Has a stun that's pretty good as well, but usually it's her damage output that she is picked up for. And then, Buddha Rice, having picked up Urgot for the team. Urgot's a character that's powerful in the bottom lane or in the top lane. I feel as if he's most commonly seen in the bottom lane historically, but now tends to switch it up a little bit. He has a very powerful passive in that it reduces the damage that the targets he hits deal to other people. Mostly, though, it's his range that we want him for. If he is able to land that corrosive charge, he can Acid Hunter Harass from a great distance away. And being able to throw those Zon-touched bolts. Augmenter is the name of his passive? I can't remember off the top of my head. But whoever he's able to tag with that deals significantly less damage. So if he picks out the problem person on the enemy team and is able to hit them with it, it's just that burst that's going to come out is going to be that much less effective. And then we are seeing Ahri picked up. Ahri is a character we don't see too often. Now, there's only been a couple people that regularly played her. Ahri's a good character. She has a taunt, mobile, does pretty good damage. She's a solid pick, but she also tends to be pretty killable. And her damage is dodgeable, or missable, so you have to worry about that as well. So we are counting down. It looks like there have been some trades made. It looks like we're going to see Sauron. Well, there was a trade, and they switched back. Sauron ending up with Wukong. So, what I initially anticipated was seeing Sauron Urgot bottom lane, but it looks like we aren't going to see that. So I would expect Sauron bottom lane on Wukong. Then over on the other side, who's going to be their bottom lane? Oh, Alpha Ferric. Ahri, bottom lane. So that Ignite's usually a good indication that's probably who we're going to see down there. And then everybody else is going to be up on the top part of the map. Let's go ahead and, I forgot to put the team names up. The best part about these team names is that when I'm typing them, I can't see them. Because it's black text on a black background. Dude. We're going to have In Walls We Trust. That is Emperor High Peoples' team playing up against Chopsticks' team, which is Dynamic Edition. Scoot that over there so you can see it. This is going to be the round of 8, the first round of the the Paradox eSports Dominion Championship Series Week 1. Sorry, I was looking at my other overlay there. Hey, Chopsticks, that is you in the chat, man. Their game has just started. We're just waiting out the spectator delay before we actually go into it. And look at these two team comps. I definitely want to say I give the comp advantage over to In Walls We Trust's team. Because they did pick up Tarek, great tank. Overall, a little bit more tanky than Leona is, I would say, at least at the moment. And we'll have to see how that plays out. I'm one out of one of your commentators. I am Gandair. And I'm here by myself today. I don't have a co-commentator, so you have to deal with me, viewers, in the chat. I want to say thank you for coming out and supporting the Paradox Championship Series, though, because I know it's on a Sunday morning, it's early for a lot of you guys, but it's really nice to hang out with you today, be able to wake up and commentate some Dominion, and I also want to say big thank you to Will, who put on the tournament here, because we love having a place to come out and play in. I love having games to commentate, so thank you for this foray, that's what it's called, yeah. Thank you for adventuring out into the Dominion scene to help us put on a show. That is really cool. We're going to hit the loading screen in just a moment. And I will get to do the proper introduction for these two teams here. Fun fact, there are a lot of Wills involved in Dominion, historically. Will Willioff, who runs Paradox, and the Feedski, who runs Dominate Gaming, and Chobra, who used to commentate Dominion, now working for OGN. All of them are named Will. Okay, why is that still captured? There we go. Get all that clutter out of the way there. Ta-da! Let's see. Make sure I have all that. Oh, I'm gonna change up these titles here. But yeah, they're all in Will. So this game is going to be In Walls We Trust versus Dynamic Edition. In Walls We Trust teams consisting of Emperor High Peoples playing as Lulu, Sauron playing as Wukong, Carnival playing as Cassiopeia, Zounds playing as Tarek, Budarice playing as Urgot. And on our other team, Dynamic Edition, we're going to have Cheap Kill playing as Leona, Danny Boyman playing as Jarvan IV, Hasbest Ganja playing as Sona, Chopsticks playing as Annie, and Alpha Ferric playing as Ari. I am one out of one of your commentators. I am Gandair, and normally there's more to this sentence than that. Alright, I'm just getting the screen set up at the top here. Sorry about that. I have to actually do this in-game. I can't quite do that beforehand because of resizing and things like that. Where's the end of this at? There it is. Alright, so Dynamic Edition versus In Walls We Trust. Here for the Paradox eSports Championship. This is week 1. Now, if you guys are not familiar with the way this format is going to work, the top places in each week's tournament are going to be awarded points. At the end of a 3-week period, those points are going to be added up. The top 8 teams after those 3 weeks are going to go to an 8-team invitational. And if you get into that 8-team invitational, man, you want to get into that for the following reason. 8 teams, the top 4 payout for RP, right? So all you need to do is win your round of 8 game in the Invitational to qualify for an RP winning finish, and anywhere between 1st through 4th. So if you get to that 8-team Invitational, all you gotta do is win 1 game to get prizes. I think that's a pretty good deal, so you want to get those points, and you want to be able to take home those prizes at the end of the month. And I'm a big fan of the Emerald Tarek skin. I just bought that the other day when the Legacy Vault opened up. Both teams heading off towards the upper part of the map. Nothing out of the ordinary in builds so far. Giant's Belt first on Leona, something that we don't see too commonly, but it can be very effective given the stats that she gets from Eclipse. And Tarek with a stun on Best Ganja right away, diving through, chasing them back out of the fight. Cheap kill on the dive through to the enemy team. Danny Broman coming out from the back. Zoun's taking a lot of damage there, getting a little bit low on health, but he does have that heal, thankfully. And there's those Acid Hunters I was mentioning, going to take down Chopsticks. Cassio picking up the killing blow, and there's a pause, because this is Dominion. My teammate Zephin says, and Dominion wouldn't be Dominion without a game pause. There we go, we are coming right back into it. Has Best Ganja going to be taken down. Cassio picking up the double kill there. And Cheap Kill and Danny Broman. Oh, that's slow from that Glare Lance. Absolutely brutal. Keeping them from being able to catch up. High Peoples is able to escape there. Cassiopeia, Carnival Cassiopeia, picking up a triple kill to open up this game. A very, very fast windmill turnaround to start off with this morning. There's usually a lot of stalemate standoff there, and Chopsticks don't do it. Has found Carnival. There's the dash through, does not connect, and Cassiopeia, Carnival, has to flash out. Flash a spell that we commonly don't see in Dominion. However, characters that have a poor escape, or ADCs with no built-in escape, use it very often. Diving Buddha Rice under the tower. Chopsticks taking those tower shots, getting low on health in the process. And Buddha Rice looks like not going to be able to defend this. Chopsticks being able to get through it, though. That Molten Shield, very, very helpful. Zoun sees this, throws the stun on Danny Broman, but he can't do a lot 1-on-4. Tarek may be a good character, but he's not quite that good. Down the bottom lane, though, first gank of the game. High Peoples goes down there with Sauron to unseat Alpha Ferret, coming back with his revive. They are able to stop the tower from going full capture, although there are a lot of minions there, and they may have something to say about that. We'll see if they're able to push it over or not. No, they will not be. The large minion is dead. And he's the one that does most of the capture there. Taunt on Sauron, but he was able to get off the Cyclone beforehand, and that's a little bit of an unfortunate timing there. High People's low on health. Ganja trying to chase through to him, not going to be able to do so. High People's still alive with barely any health left over. Lulu very good at kiting and keeping herself going. Cheap Kill is going to be picked up here. Zoun's going for the recall and is going to be able to make it back. Chopsticks is going to get this tower back no problem. There's no one there to contest it at the moment, so it's up to Danny Broman up at the top of the map to hang on to this windmill for a little while and start recovering a little bit of that Nexus health gap that they've gotten themselves into. It's only about 40 points, though. Plenty of time for that to be picked back up. You generally really don't start freaking out about your Nexus health until you are under 100, or if you're in a at 200 or so and you're getting into a consistent 4-cap situation or more caps. So Zoun's by himself, 4-man dive up here. Don't be afraid of Jarvan. He's going to have to dash out because he can't handle that one-on-one. He's going to back up, regroup with his team just a little bit. Carnival in the back, able to channel freely on that. Ganja has to dive through, throws the crescendo down for the interrupt, but the minions are going to push that neutral anyway. So that's very unfortunate. And someone's going to start trying to recap. No, she is going to back out instead. Wants to help out. Picks up the double kill, finishing off Zounds. Chopsticks gets healed up there. Can he keep Cheap Kill up, though? Yes, triple kill for has Best Ganja. Sona, Chopsticks tagged the Acid Hunter, is going to go down because it's Seeking. So once that first one lands, you know there's going to be 1 or 2 more, and he didn't have enough health to survive that. Cheap Kill charging forward, throws down the stun on Zounds. Best Ganja going to be shut down by the Shatter Proc from Zounds' Tark. It's a pretty good fight up at the top. They were able to hold on to the tower for a little bit. It's not actually captured. That is a little bit of a graphical glitch there. That shows it as red. And in Walls We Trust is going to take back that point. Bottom lane, Jarvan and Cassiope both heading down, but Jarvan getting the better end of the exchange so far. There's the Petrifying Gaze. That dot damage going to even things up very well, and he is going to fall, unfortunately, to that Twin Fang. Chopsticks down here has to use the Incinerate on the minions, maybe? Nope, the big one's dead, so it should get picked up just before it goes neutral. It's going to throw it down anyway, just for safety's sake. Carnival being shielded by Lulu. Best Ganja won't be able to take her out. Sona can do a lot of damage, yes. However, the problem with Sona is she really only has 1 damage spell that she can regularly use. She makes for a very, very good hit and run, and it looks like Cheap Kill has been having some internet issue of some form, so it looks like we're going to get a reconnect from him really quickly. Taking a look at the items builds going on here, we're seeing a... Can I move this? I can't. We are seeing Frost Queen's Claim which is an item that Alia was theorizing could be pretty useful in Dominion. If you look at it, it has mana per 5, has ability power on it, has GP 10, which isn't necessarily the greatest stat, but sure, why not? But here's the more important thing about it. If you look at its active, it does magic damage and reduces everyone's movement speed for 2 seconds. So it is an AoE effect slow that can be targeted on a champion, not just yourself. So you can throw that slow out away from you, and it hits them and their allies. 1 minute cooldown, that's pretty nice. Also, whenever you hit champions, you get 8 gold. Happens once every, once every 10 seconds or so. And if you kill a minion, it adds. So, tribute, it's nice. We don't really need it too much, but hey, we're not going to complain about stats on item. But that passive, or excuse me, that active is a pretty good thing to have around. And that mana regen's nothing to sneeze at. 10 mana per 5 on a map that already gives you pretty solid mana regeneration anyway. That's very, very useful. Looking at other items that are being constructed, everything else looks pretty standard, I'd say, after giving it a browse through. Wukong going to go into Brutalizer. There we go. And we see, for Randuin's, it looks like on Leo there. Hasn't completed the boots yet, though. And Taric is just going for the, hey, I'm Taric. I'm going to get a Doran Shield, a Ninja Tabby, and I'm going to get probably a Spirit Visage eventually if the game goes on long enough. And what else is nice on him? Randuin's Omen's really good. Just build health and armor and just live forever. Taric is an awesome character. So I'm going to go ahead and... oh, nope, game is going to unpause. There we go. So best Ganja Polymorph there is going to be picked up by Sauron's Wukong, turning their attention over to Chopsticks. Immediately, 4-man down here on the bottom. No one to check for Buddha Rice's Urgot over there at the drill. Cheap kill and team committing to the bottom to try and defend it. They didn't split anyone off to keep drill from being captured, which is going to put them in a really bad position if that gets turned around. Jarvan should be able to get there in time. Yeah, no problem. Stops that from being captured. Buddha Rice turns his attention to him immediately. Cheap kill coming around from the back. Sound's going to follow in after that. Let's see who that stun gets thrown down on. It is Danny Broman going to get picked up before he can dash away. Good stun timing from Zounds there. And now moving in front of the enemy's base. Now, a 5-cap situation is something you don't want to be in. It's something that is extremely difficult to get out of. In this position, the enemy team gains a substantial amount of map control, being able to hang out in this area of the map that the camera is centered on right now. There's the position reverse from Ganja to draw him out. Good stun. Ganja is actually going to be able to get away, just barely. And cheap kill disconnected again. It's unfortunate. Cataclysm gets thrown down, keeping High Peoples from being able to retreat. They have an opportunity to get their drill back. If they move across the map quickly, they could make a play for Refinery as well. But by having 2 people here to capture, there we go, good. Splitting Annie off. If Annie moves up to the top, they may be able to pick that back up. So they gained a serious amount of a lead there with that 5-cap for being able to hold as long as they can. If you get into a fight in this area of the map, you have to break through up to your point and try and escape out over here. You can't just run through this way if they get control of this intersection. It's very difficult to do so. And then you have the respawn advantage of they don't really have a lot of sustain there, because you keep dying, coming back at full health. You can slowly chip them down and get them out, but it's going to give them a serious Nexus health lead. And oh man, that stun was determined. Able to connect on him. The point, still neutral at the moment. There's going to be the airborne from Lulu. Danny Broman is... oh, stunned by Taric! Zounds' Taric! Looked like he was going to go for it there for a second, but did not. And see, 5 people here means there's no one checking on the bottom lane, which means Alpharic is able to walk across no problem, and he's going to pick up that. He's actually going to turn that entire point around if no one recalls for it. But Zounds is moving down here for the Boneyard. Is going to be interrupted by Best Ganja, however. But Best Ganja, not very good at surviving against Cassiopeia at the moment. And with Sauron, there's the Cyclone going down. Danny Broman by himself, 1v5. Can't really do a lot there. Alpharic is coming around from the back, but he can't do anything to this either, so he is going to retreat for the moment. Cheap kills Leona, has reconnected, is going to come up here and pick up the drill and recapture that point. Alpharic not able to take Buddha Rice, that's going to cost them the quarry So when they come back, they're going to have to go back down to pick up the Boneyard, but they have to do that against Wukong and Lulu. And Cheap Kill accidentally dropped his cap somehow doing that. Not sure what went on there, didn't quite get to see that. Bottom point, they haven't recaptured it yet. Looks like they're only just now getting to it, which is going to give them the Boneyard back. And they're still not in a position to make a play for the windmill yet. Ganja, I'm scared for you, man. Sauron's Wukong is on the chase there. Crescendo does land. So does the Airborne. He is invisible. Cataclysm thrown down on Peoples. Sauron dashes right into that. No fear. Tibbers is going to help take down Sauron. Good engagement for them so far. They have to deal with Zounds, and he does a bunch of magic damage. Cassiopeia there, though, is able to put on a lot of hurt. Chopsticks has not popped the Molten Shield, though. Could have mitigated some of that damage. Maybe stayed alive just a little bit longer. Sheepkill now retreating back towards the tower. Solar flares to stop them up at the top part of the map. Alpha Ferric not able to take down Buddha Rice, so the windmill will still remain under In Walls We Trust control. Some damage over the wall from Cass. Tarek actually going to pick up the killing blow there against Sheepkill Leona. And Carnival by himself down the bottom lane, has to go up against a Jarvan. He doesn't have his Petrifying Gaze for a few more seconds, but as soon as he does, Jarvan can be defeated there, especially since Jarvan is building a little bit more glass, doesn't have any MR going for him yet. Carnival doesn't quite need to use that Petrifying Gaze because of the support from Lulu, so he can pocket that for later. Already picking up the shutdown on Zounds' Tarek. Sound coming in from the back once again, connects with Chopsticks. Chopsticks will do the most damage out of everyone there, and able to Cyclone them up. And once again, Alpha Ferric and Buddha Rice having a little bit of a disagreement, and Alpha Ferric getting the worst end of that engagement. Once more, Ari and Urgot. Matchup seeming to go in much more of a favor of Urgot there. Another 5-cap situation, and they can't break out of this. There's not enough time for them to be able to capture towers to stop the clock in order to prolong the game. Which means, In Walls We Trust is going to go on to the semifinals. Because this is the round 8. So, In Walls We Trust, the first victor that we have in the Paradox Esports Dominion Championship here. They're going to be, these are the first 2 teams to compete, man. That's pretty cool. And unfortunately, Dynamic Edition is going to take the first loss ever in this tournament's history, which is unfortunate, but they were up against a pretty tough team with a pretty good comp. That insta-pick Tarek. So powerful. Let's see, where's my... Alright. So that was the first game, the round of 8 game. We are going to go dig up another game for you and bring that to you in just a couple of moments here. So hang out, everybody, and we will see you in just a few moments for the next game of the Paradox Dominion Championship Series.